Okay, excellent. Well, thank you all, and I'll keep letting people in as folks join, but I know we're all busy people, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We got some good topics to talk about today. So hello, if I haven't met you before, my name is Jillian Pyatt. I am at the Bluegrass chapter, which is in Lexington, Kentucky. I am our Director of Programs and Operations, which includes being the volunteer manager, just with some additional things on top of that. So I'm excited. I've been part of this group for a while. Definitely some familiar faces, but also some new folks. So it's great to see you all. We do typically do a little bit of an introduction. And so we're going to do our best to pop around and let everyone introduce themselves if you're able and willing. So I would say your name, your chapter, how long you've been there, and how you prefer to be appreciated. Just as that is on theme with our topic today. So I will go first. Like I said, I'm Jillian. I've been with my chapter for about 6.5 years. And I prefer to be appreciated with like little thoughtful things. Like one time my boss bought me a bunch of really colorful pens because I'm a colorful person and I like colorful pens. And I was like, I feel so seen. And, you know, it wasn't that big of a deal, but I just every time I use these pens, I'm like, she knows me and she appreciates me. And I like that. So that's how I prefer to be appreciated. I'm just going to go. The first person I see on my screen is Katie Conway. Would you like to introduce yourself next?
Hi, my name's Katie Conway, obviously. I'm from the Buffalo chapter, Buffalo, New York chapter. It's finally 70 and sunny. I want to say that. So our reputation precedes us. I've been at this particular job for 5 months. I was a teacher for 34 years and I retired in June and got bored really fast. And so now I'm out in the nonprofit world and loving every minute of it. I like to be appreciated, I think, by words, just like great job. I'm more of a word person. Not that I don't mind some pens, but so nice to meet everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Lindsay, we're going to pop over to you next.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Capehart. I am the volunteer manager at RMH New York. So we're the house in the city. I've been here for just about 4 years. And my favorite way to be appreciated is I'm a big words of affirmation type of person, and my appreciation too, especially when the words are when somebody's speaking about me in front of me to someone else. So not to me directly, but I can hear, like, if my supervisor's talking to her boss about it, or like my friends talking to another one of my friends about me, I really like to be appreciated in that way.
I love that. Iris, how about you?
Hi, my name's Iris Love. I'm from the Ronald McDonald House in Cincinnati, Ohio. I've been here for not quite 1 year. In about 3 weeks, it'll be 1 year. I'm the volunteer coordinator. We also have a volunteer manager named Melissa, and she'll be hopping on the call soon. I like what Lindsay said about overhearing that people have noticed the good job that you've done and have like mentioned it to somebody else. That's nice. Also, I don't know. I feel like I don't really need recognition, but it is always nice when somebody says thank you for something that you think is just like, oh, it was no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So,
thank you. Vanessa, how about you?
Hi, everybody. I'm Vanessa Stoller. I'm with the chapter here in Denver. We have 2 houses, Denver and Aurora, under our chapter. And I've been here just over 2 years. And I was with another house previously for almost 4 years in the volunteer management role. And I, like the others before me, definitely enjoy words of appreciation and affirmation. Since this is timely, I'll just mention a volunteer happened to email just last week to our CEO a nice thing about me, and it was completely unexpected. And so that felt very meaningful because it wasn't something I was anticipating, and it didn't have anything to do with something I had immediately, done or expected, and that meant a lot.
Your instructions on
Love that.
I'll call on Molly Shaw.
Hello, everyone. I am Molly. I am from the Danville, Pennsylvania Ronald McDonald House chapter. I've been here for a year and some change. And I also like just little thoughtful things that make me feel like people are paying attention to what I like and what I say and things like that. So
Love that. Meredith, how about you?
All right. Yeah. So I'm at the Ronald McDonald House of Central Florida. So I've only been here since like November, but loving it so far. And I'm the community partnership and programs manager. As far as how I would prefer to be appreciated, I think kind of like you said about like the like thoughtfulness behind things, but also like words. Like if I got like a card, I'd probably like cry. It's like my favorite. So it's probably me.
Love that. And I haven't heard you say your name, so I may mispronounce it, but Soderica, how about you?
Yeah, that was actually correct. I'm Soderica. I'm the volunteer recruitment coordinator at the Ronald McDonald House in New York City. So I work with Lindsay. The way I like to be appreciated, I think just acknowledging efforts, even when, let's say, like you have a project or a plan doesn't really work out, but just like still acknowledging that like you tried your hardest. I think that's really, really important for me, especially in the field that we're in.
Absolutely. Now, Google isn't letting me see everybody on the call, so I'm going to be looking at the list of who I think is on the call. So I apologize if you're not here, but I think Alex, how about you?
So my name is Alex Hedges, and I am approaching my 1 year with the Ronald McDonald House here in Columbia, Missouri. Ronald McDonald House in Missouri. March 18th will be my year anniversary, and I am the volunteer manager. Kind of work really close with our programs department, our programs director and house manager, and I enjoy being appreciated. Well, sweets are always nice, candy and food. Those are always pleasant things to get. I come from operations management background in a corporate world, and attaboys weren't usually given out. So I do appreciate the kind words and recognition as well. But sweets are always nice if there's a candy bar on my desk or something like that. So.
Love that. Yeah, I wouldn't turn that on myself. How about Chloe?
Hi, everyone. My name's Chloe Hickman. I am the Engagement and Volunteer Services Coordinator with our Bay Area chapter. So working at our Stanford house, but also for Oakland and San Francisco. And I've been with the organization coming up on 1 year, but in my role for about 2 months now. Previous to this, I was working as a youth program associate here, so working in the activity rooms with the kids. And I like to be appreciated with words of affirmation, and also small homemade cards or gifts. I always find to be extra thoughtful. Nice to meet everybody.
Yes, nice to meet you. Well, congratulations on your new role.
Thank you.
Erica, how about you?
Turn my microphone off, that'd be helpful. I'm Erica Carlock. I'm the volunteer coordinator and database manager for Ronald McDonald House Charities of Arkansas, North Louisiana. I have been with the organization for 13 years, which is mind-boggling, and have been in my current role for the last 7. It was just my 7-year anniversary was March 1st. So that's super exciting. And I'm definitely, like, if it's within work, I'm definitely a words of affirmation girl. I need to know that my efforts were noticed and my boss has got my back, and that it's my 4-year-old, and that I just, that my efforts were noticed. So.
Absolutely. Thanks, Erica. Harriet, how about you?
Yes, I'm Harriet Tambini. I am our volunteer manager at the Jacksonville, Florida house. I've been in my role for just over a year now, which is very exciting. And I definitely love swag items, especially any RMHC lapel pins or t-shirts. I love all that stuff.
Love it. Thank you. Julia?
Hi, I'm Julia. I'm the Community Partnerships and Programs intern this semester for the Central Florida branch. I'm so sorry, I've never joined the Meet Google, so my camera just is not working. But it's been a great 3 months so far with the Central Florida location, and probably I like little things like little note cards, little thoughtful notes, just to feel appreciated. But yeah, great to meet you all.
Thank you. Katie, how about you? And there's actually 2 Katies.
Yeah, I don't think Katie from our team is going to be on today. She's out of town.
Hi, I'm Katie Shipley. I'm the volunteer coordinator at Ronald McDonald House in Louisville, Kentucky. I've been here for about 9 months now. I'll celebrate my 1-year anniversary in June. The ways I like to be appreciated, definitely words of encouragement, but also I feel appreciated when I'm able to do my job and given all the resources to do it well, and my boss trusts me to get it done. So very lucky.
Excellent. Thank you. Always nice to meet a fellow Kentuckian. Madeline. Oh, it looks like I skipped Lindsay. Sorry, Lindsay. I scrolled too far.
Oh, I already went.
Okay, perfect. That's why I scrolled.
My camera isn't working either, I think, because this is the first time on Google Meets, but oh, there we go. Hi, everyone. I'm at the RMH Pasadena House, part of the Southern California chapter, and I'm the community engagement coordinator here. I've been here for 3 months now, and I would have to say written words of encouragement.
Excellent. Love that. Welcome to RMHC. And I think I may have missed a person or two. So if you haven't gone yet, if you would like to go now, it'd be a great time.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Sorry, go ahead, Willowell.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, my profile name, I was trying to change it, but I don't use Google Meet normally. I'm Lorianne Miller, Director of Volunteer Programs at the Ronald McDonald House in Philadelphia. And I've been here for about 16 years now. Yeah, words of appreciation, swag, all of the above. Love it all.
Awesome.
I'll go ahead and jump in next. My name is Xochitl Diaz. I'm from the Southern California chapter at the LA House. And I have been in my role for 2 weeks as of today.
Oh, wow.
But I have been with the LA House for about 5 years now. I was in the programs team as a GSA for all those years. So very, very excited to be in this new role. And I think that I'm a foodie. I love food. So my way of giving love and appreciation is giving food. So I like to receive that back.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Well, welcome to the new role. So exciting. I love hearing, I mean, we have folks who are new to the role, folks who've been here for a long time, and it's great to learn from all of us and all the previous experience that we're bringing as well. I heard several people mention they haven't used Google Meets. I haven't used Google Meets super often either. We moved to this because it allows us to record and save things, and it was just, with the 3 of us helping facilitate, it was just easier to tag team that. But we may all be learning together how this platform works. So today we're going to be talking about volunteer appreciation, which is why we did that for our intro. And with all of the topics, those of us who are facilitating, we are not necessarily experts. We are just here to help guide the conversation and get us all together to talk. So I put together some topics and some thoughts. I have some things to share, but definitely want to hear from you all and all of your great ideas. For those of us who've been doing this for a while, sometimes appreciation feels like the thing that we're always doing, but for me at least, it is hard to maintain creativity. And so I always love to hear from other folks what you're doing, because together we have great ideas. So the first thing we're just going to talk about is different activities or events that you do. So I know some folks do one big formal event. April is National Volunteer Month, so that's why we're timing it now here in March, because a lot of folks do things in April, but I know some folks do different things. So I would just love to hear if anyone has some interesting events that they've done in the past or that they're planning for this year that you would like to share with the group.
I'll go ahead and jump in. We actually have coming up in a few weeks our brunch of gratitude. And I was just working on sending out invites to our volunteers and groups to welcome them to just a nice day of a little brunch at our house, and just sharing, meeting other volunteers, other groups that participate, doing the same thing, making our families feel great and helping around. And we include tours into this day. We allowed some guests to come along so that we can potentially get to meet new volunteers, new participants, and some food, some nice activities, and just overall a moment of sharing and sharing our gratitude for them.
We
myself. Go on, Alex. That's good.
So just like previously mentioned, I like the brunch of gratitude name. I like that title. We had a breakfast, appreciation breakfast, where we did bagels and coffee cake and cinnamon rolls and coffee and things like that. And then we gave out thank you cards that noted the hours that were donated by the volunteers in 2024 with a little, it was right before Valentine's Day, so we attached some Valentine's candy to the back, a couple treats. And we're planning on for Volunteer Appreciation Week on having a dinner. And we're trying to do at least 4, besides the volunteer appreciation, we're trying to do 4 of these quarterly, thanking the volunteers. So putting some kind of, if it's not like a brunch of gratitude, which I might take the name on that, be a dinner or some kind of recognition ceremony, just thanking and send, giving a little treat as well. We're actually found my program service director has found these little seed pods that are in the shape of a heart, and you can plant it, and so it's like seeds of caring, and then little wildflowers grow from that. So
that's very cute. Love that.
I can go. We're actually going through renovations right now. The house is. So we got approved to expand our play space. It's very small right now, so it's very, very exciting for us. So our volunteer appreciation event, we kind of invited all of our volunteers to the house. We're going to go over, one of our chiefs is going to go over the new construction plan, what the house is going to look like. And then after, we were able to rent out this bar for 2 hours. So we're just going to head over and kind of let loose a little bit. It's very exciting because we were actually able to close our application this year, so we're no longer accepting new volunteers. There's a wait list now. So very exciting for us.
Absolutely. That sounds great. Is anyone, I'm curious, because we're doing this using a showing of the movie Audrey's Children as a volunteer appreciation event. So we decided, instead of trying to sell tickets, I'm just taking it out of my budget and buying out a theater and inviting our volunteers to attend. And I'm really excited about it.
I can jump in. We're hoping to do that too. We just don't know what theater, based on where we're located, if we're able to do that. But we were thinking something similar. So are you going to rent out the theater and do it that way and have snacks and things? Are you thinking?
Yeah, we're not, since for me, this was a little bit unplanned in terms of my budget. I'm not going to provide snacks. So it's a buy your own concessions, but we have a 100-seat theater that we've rented out. And so I just sent it out. We're starting to take RSVPs now. And we're really excited about it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Is the theater that you rented one of the ones that's going to be showing the movie when it comes out in a couple weeks anyway?
Yeah, we were limited. We couldn't we wanted to do it at like our small local theater. We weren't able to make that work because it wasn't being released there. So we are doing it at like a Regal Cinemas. We had the choice between Cinemark, but they didn't have the dates that we wanted. So
Okay. So we planned our volunteer recognition event for the end of April, hoping to be able to show the movie to our volunteers. And we booked a private theater here in town that could also be used as, well, they can set up the tables and chairs any way that we would need it to, but was originally a theater. So it would have been really cool to have it there. And it looks like we're not going to be able to work the details out, having it at that specific theater. So we're pivoting and going to do probably like a lunch banquet. We're going to honor all of our volunteers who have had 20 years of service or more. We have about 16 of them that we have not yet recognized for that milestone. So that's what we're planning to do. And we're looking for some other ways to engage our volunteers, either in small groups, or I don't know if we'll do like a trivia or like a little quiz type of web-based quiz or something, just to get them to interact and get to like talk to each other.
absolutely. Yeah, the theater film rights piece was a little difficult to navigate, but I'm excited to do it. It's not exactly my original idea, but I'm excited for what we can offer. And I got to see the film when we were at Global in Chicago at conference, and I'm just excited to share it with folks. I know they're really gonna be impacted by it.
Yeah, we were hoping to do that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for us, we were inviting a couple to like some of our like top volunteers, because it is a really small theater to go, but it's not going to be part of our big volunteer recognition event in April, just because kind of like you said, I think it was kind of hard to like bank on knowing if it would even come and like all of the logistics around that. But we are really excited. I think we're going to get to invite like 15 of our like top volunteers to come see it with like our staff and everything, which should be like really exciting. For our big volunteer recognition event, we normally do like one a year. And yeah, we do like a bunch of like raffle items, things like that. We normally do like an award for like the most volunteer hours and like show how much like money has been saved that year and all the different things that the volunteers have like contributed to. And yeah, just have a nice event of like honoring them. But yeah, that's kind of what we do here in Central Florida.
Love that. And yeah, similar to what Alex mentioned, I've kind of moved to doing more things throughout the year. So maybe I still do something in April because it is National Volunteer Month. And that's kind of like our big like focused event. But I've been trying to add smaller things that appeal to different folks. So on the agenda, you'll see like, how do you appeal to different generations and needs and interests? Because I just found not everybody wants to go to a banquet. Not everybody wants like a more formal program. Sometimes they just want to be in community with other people. And so I've been trying to add things like that. So I'll just share some of ours that we've done over the last year or that we have planned for this year. We've done a small happy hour. I started doing at the beginning of the school year, like in early September, an ice cream truck that comes to the house as really a like thank you and welcome back to our student volunteers. And that has, I mean, everybody loves that because everybody loves an ice cream truck almost. So that's been really fun. We're doing the Audrey's Children film viewing this year. A couple years ago, we also rented out a theater and did like, I think we ended up watching the movie Elf. They got to vote on what movie we saw. So we rented like, from a list that the movie theater gave us. That was really fun. And I think we're also going to try and do a baseball game this year. So really just hitting different things. And some things are more like, hey, invite your whole family and come. Some things are, more pared down. And so just trying to hit for different folks. We get a lot of students, but of course we also have young families, we have retirees, we have young professionals, just kind of a variety of volunteers. So I try to make sure that throughout the year, there's at least one thing that a volunteer would feel like is a fit for them. Any other good ideas folks want to share, or share kind of how you try to appeal to different kinds of volunteers?
Something that we just did in February around Valentine's Day was just invite the volunteers for a little social. It was from 6 to 8 p.m. and we ordered pizza and had sodas, and then we had an area in the house where they could just mingle and chat with one another. They could also bring a friend who was not a volunteer or a loved one to just introduce them to the house and show them around and participate. And then we had in the boardroom a bracelet making station that everybody really got into, young and old, didn't matter. Everyone wanted to walk away with a bracelet, and they put their family member's name on it, or a favorite sports team, or whatever they wanted to do. That we had a door prize as well, just a gift card raffle, and that was really appreciated. They loved it. We do an annual big event as well, and we have help from partners that will give us the space or give us the food at a hotel or something, so that we can accommodate around 250, 300 people. But I love the ideas of the baseball game, because we do have like a RMHC night at the Phillies in August, and we'll try to snag some tickets for the volunteers as well.
All of that sounds super fun. Was it the bracelets with the little beads that you bead on with letters and stuff?
Exactly.
Super
Yes.
fun. Very in the moment. Love that.
Very popular.
And yes, and our baseball game is a minor league team, so not quite as cool as going to the Phillies, but will still be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just the atmosphere is wonderful.
Yes. Just giving it a moment in case anyone else wants to share a great idea. I love all of these.
I can share a little bit about what we've done here. This is my third April appreciation event, and the first year I did rented a space at the zoo, the Denver Zoo, to have kind of private space, and covered the admission cost for our volunteers. So they would come, and we had food and had an opportunity to kind of socialize together for a little while, and then everyone could just go off and enjoy the zoo with their guests if they brought any. And then last year, kind of in a similar vein, we did it at the Nature and Science Museum, and included like a planetarium showing as part of that. And that's been really fun to see volunteers bring they can bring kids, and it just kind of gets everybody there. We're really trying to encourage higher attendance. So having those guests, I think, was important and a way to do that. This year I was kind of pivoting just for kind of research to see what is it like if we do something on site. So this year I'm planning on hosting something more similar, doing a brunch or lunch at the house, and trying to have it be a little more about, I guess, RMH focused, because we would do games and prizes and all that stuff really related to RMHC. But then the Audrey screening just kind of came up too. So there's a chance we will try to do that instead. I'm not sure. So I'm kind of up in the air. But I do try to do little things throughout the year. And sometimes I'll just at our front desk, maybe on a monthly basis, change out something based on the National Month holiday, or just something kind of cutesy. At Valentine's Day, that's usually like candy, but like I think it's June or July is International Joke Month or Day or something like that. So I had like a community joke bowl kind of thing, like take a joke, leave a joke, things like that, just to try to get people connected a little more, because the way our program works, we just have one volunteer on shift at a time for our recurring regular folks. So that kind of helps people stretch across the community, I guess, to do things like that.
I love the joke bowl idea. I might just do that for not even a special month. I think we just all need more jokes in our life. So that is awesome. I love that. And yeah, I definitely think that is something to keep in mind too, is it's not always about like an event or an award, which is mostly what we're talking about today. But sometimes it is just those, donuts on Fridays or whatever it is that, appeals to your group, to let them know that you're thinking of them and appreciating them. Like for us, a very small thing is volunteers are allowed to have a free soda. Like we have a Coke machine that our families pay 50 cents for. That's the only thing they pay for while they're here. But, when I'm giving my orientations and tours, I always show volunteers where they can get one. I'm like, you don't need to pay for one. And for them, they're like, oh my gosh, really? I can just have a soda? And I'm like, yeah. And it's such a small thing, but for some of them, it makes them so happy. And I had a med student here the other day who, when I told her she could have free McDonald's coffee while she was here, she was like so sold. Like she was so excited. And so sometimes it's also just those things that aren't that much effort on our part because we already do them for our families. Some of you have already mentioned this topic, but we can transition and you can still share your great event ideas if you think of something you haven't shared yet. But thinking about volunteer awards, some of you have mentioned that you do those at your events. So I'm curious if anyone has had great success with how you do awards, how you select them, if you're giving actual awards out, what those look like. Would love to just kind of get some ideas from folks.
I can jump in. We're kind of, still revamping volunteering since COVID. So we don't really do a big appreciation event yet. But for our recognition, I started monthly volunteer programs. So we have 2 houses and both house teams submit just a recommendation for who they would like to recognize for the month. And then I put together a flyer and Canva. That volunteer I send an email to, they submit a couple pictures, their kind of RMHC story, and then their favorite funny moment or one word to describe their experience. And that's been really successful, not only for volunteer appreciation in the house, but also we had our board meeting the other day and board members are really excited about this. It connects them to our volunteers. We have a lot of volunteers who have been directly impacted by our services. So that's also really exciting. When a volunteer receives Volunteer of the Month, they get a little gift bag with just kind of, the random hodgepodge of stuff that we have on hand. But we also have these cool, they're clear placards with white, #1 volunteer. And then we do a bunch of postings. So it kind of creates more engagement online with the volunteer. We've also had volunteers start to bring in their companies to do Feed the House because of it. So
I love that. Very creative idea. I think it's also a good way to get other staff members involved in selecting that and, just getting it to be more of a team effort. We do a volunteer of the year for both our house and our family room. And are also, some years have done this, some years haven't, but we're also doing a student volunteer of the year because we get a lot of students and it's hard to compare their amount of hours or the amount of time that they've put into someone who is, say, retired or a stay-at-home mom maybe who is here a lot, but they're still so phenomenal and contributing. So we want to make sure we can still recognize them because they're amazing volunteers, even if they don't have quite the same amount of hours or length of time volunteering with us. So we started doing both of those, and we're excited for that as well.
For that, Jillian, how do you decide who is the volunteer of the year? Is it all the staff participating or?
Yeah, it's the staff who work most closely with the volunteer. So really it's our ops and programs team are able to submit we don't do it super formally because we're a small house with a smaller amount of volunteers, but they're able to submit kind of nominations and why they think, and then we go through it. And in the end, it's my final decision. And so for me, I try and balance overall, are we recognizing a variety of different types of volunteers and demographics of volunteers and, not the same person every year. And, so I try and kind of balance all of that. But yeah. usually we found most of the staff are nominating the same 2 or 3 people. So there's not like a lot that we're choosing from. Like it's always clear, like this is the person.
One of the other things I forgot to mention is, so all our volunteers get lanyards when they start with their name tag and everything. We have pins for recognition of 50 hours, 100 hours, 200 hours. And so they collect them on their lanyard. And it kind of becomes like a fun, you know, it's competitive with some volunteers, but it's also just like happy. And then when they're walking around the house, our families like to like see and say, oh my gosh, you've clearly put in the time. Some of our volunteers, we joke that they're honorary staff because they're there so frequently. But just kind of a fun thing. Our Girl Scouts, when they come in, they love to see it and they're like, I want that one day. So
that's sweet. This is a very technical question. I'm just curious. Do they keep the lanyards, like take them home with them, or do they store them at Ronald McDonald House and get them when they come back on shift?
They keep them. We currently don't have a designated like space. In a dream world, I'll have like a volunteer wall where if they wanted to leave their lanyard, they could. But our volunteers are pretty good about, they wear their t-shirt and their lanyard to every shift. So I think it becomes like a point of pride for people. And one of our volunteers, she recently was leading an activity with the kids and they had made these like hearts that said, I love you. And so she has them on her lanyard as well.
I'm really curious about that too, because this year I'm hoping to do service recognition that we kind of surprisingly have not really had, at least not formally. And so the way our program works is everybody has their name tag and we store those at the house at the front desk. And then we have a communal volunteer lanyard that has the house key on it. So people just grab that and they put it back at the end of their shift. And I'm considering to do a lanyard kind of recognition where I order special lanyards of different colors that say 100 hours, 200 hours and up, things like that. So it's a little, I'm trying to figure out the logistics, but hoping to do something like that and keep them at the house. But I am curious to know if anyone has a lanyard supplier that they like or a place they like to order that stuff. I would love any recommendations.
Custom lanyards, it's kind of just like a, you know, off the wall group, but they actually will, like it's hard to find railway and print, which is what our font is. And so they'll actually do railway font and you can add a logo. So like ours has the RMHC and then our specific house logo. And you can add volunteer and there's so many different colors. Specifically, we have like the gold yellow color for RMHC. And they're like super easy to work with. There's thousands of options to choose from. So when you customize it, I feel like you can't not customize it kind of thing. But I can send that link.
Yeah, I think that's actually who I've been looking at, and I haven't been able to get a hold of anyone at their customer service. So not to get anybody in those weeds with me, but yeah, I might follow up with you separately, Adelaide, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Thanks.
And definitely as we are chatting, if you have companies like that or places where you have ordered awards from or other things, feel free to drop it in the chat because Vanessa is taking notes for us, which thank you again, Vanessa. We appreciate that so much. And that way she can include that in our notebook later so people can reference it back. And mine is a little bit, it could be awards, but might be more the gift side of things is a company called Vaudeville. I don't know if y'all have heard of that. This is one of their recent magazines, but so they have trophies they have some that are like more formal, traditional trophies, but then they have some that are like kind of fun. Like they have one that's literally a goat for the greatest of all time, which I just think is hilarious. So depending on who you're recognizing and, you know, some of these might appeal to you for awards. And I also have used these a lot for gifts for staff as recognition. So that's not everyone's department either, but so that's a company that I would recommend. And I will put it in the chat in a little bit too. So just as another source of, I found it kind of recently and was like, oh, these are just some different things than your typical branded swag. You can brand some of the things from them, but a lot of them are, you don't put your logo on it. It just says something like fun about being like, my boss thinks I'm kind of a big deal, or that kind of thing on it, which is fun. And we have a note in the chat. Someone uses Scott Christianbaum and put their information there. So thank you. I think we have ordered from him before too. Thank you for putting that in the chat, Katie. Appreciate that. And that kind of, the next topic was just like gifts and swag. What are you doing? Again, this is one of those things where I feel like I have run out of my creativity. So I'm always trying to source other people's ideas. I did have one final creative push for this year. Our gala is going to be like garden themed, like we're growing themed. And so for our volunteer appreciation gift this year, I'm doing a self-watering glass planter that has our logo on it, so that they can plant a little something and grow with us. So that is perhaps my last creative idea for gift for volunteers, but I would love to hear you all's.
Well, I can go next. Sorry, I was late, but excited to see everyone and so excited to talk about this because I feel like you were saying, Jillian, it's so easy to run out of ideas and just not be creative or think like, do people still like this? Do they not like this? Is this cool or is this stupid? One of the things we just recently did is for everyone who's been with us for 20 years or more, got a personalized glass picture frame that has like their name and then how long they have been at the house. That was from Personalization Mall. And we ordered, I think 16 of them, and they were only like $20 a piece. And then there was a discount. So it's a nice looking thing to give them. And it was really reasonable. The other thing, so Iris, who works with me, worked on this from Imprint, was insulated. And it's funny, there's an Imprint and there's an Imprint Now, and they are two different companies, which took us a little bit of time to figure out. But they have like kind of like the insulated tumblers that are kind of Tervis fakes that you can put your logo in. And she kind of created our logo, but then volunteer underneath, and found these tumblers. And I think they were like $6.50. They were really, really reasonable. So those are kind of, we're doing that. And then we're doing a t-shirt. In Kentuckiana, we had a call with them a few months ago or a month ago, maybe, and they had a great idea. Because a lot of times we get these gifts for appreciation and not everybody likes them and they don't pick them up. And then you've got all this extra gifts. So they surveyed their volunteers and they said, would you like this? Would you like this? Or would you like to opt out? And they said there was a lot of volunteers who, don't want us to spend the money on them. And I'd never thought to do that. And we did it. Iris sent them a survey, all of our volunteers. We had about 30 people who decided to opt out, which I was shocked by. And it was great that they, I've got enough stuff, I don't want anything extra. So I think it makes them feel like they're kind of doing their part towards the charity. And it's one less thing that we need to spend money on. So I'd love when we can connect, because I definitely always come with some good ideas, and we stole that from Kentuckiana, full disclosure.
It's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I typically just personally try to always pick mine as something that is like practical, usable, or consumable. It doesn't always happen that way, but that's always kind of trying to my goal of like not just junk for you, but something that you will use in your life. But everybody has a different life, so I don't always know what you will use or
Right.
not use.
Makes it hard.
It's a great point, though.
For our volunteer appreciation last year, we went with tote bags. You can't use plastic or get plastic shopping bags in Philly anymore. So the tote bags were cool. They were practical. They were popular, and They just said volunteering is my bag on the side there, and they're sturdy and generous, and they were the volunteers really like them. So they were about $6 a piece, and we got to put our artwork on it as well. So it was nice for the 50th.
That is nice, especially if it is something like people need these now if you're not allowed to use the plastic grocery bags. So that's like very smart. I also like need to make myself a note because every time we have this big like volunteer fair during the orientation week at our campus that I always go to. And every time I'm there, I'm like, I should have done branded bags because they're getting all of this swag and paperwork from other people and I don't know where to carry it. And every year I'm like, buy branded bags. And then I get there the next year and I still didn't buy branded bags. So we'll see if I pull it off this year because you just reminded me. It's a good one. And if you all will indulge me, I'm going to show you the t-shirt that I did. So I typically do a gift in April, and then I typically do a t-shirt towards the end of the year. And then I kind of over purchase them so that I can hand them out as folks join us. And so last year I also got this inspiration from someone else. I stole this design from our local blood center. And it's based on the movie Elf, and people really enjoyed it. So it says, I love to volunteer. Volunteering is my favorite. And then it had our logo at the bottom. It's been kind of funny handing them out now post holidays. But people are still like, yeah, I would love that. So that was very different than our typical shirt, but I thought for a one-time, just different kind of thing, again, I was having a hard time being creative. So I just went with it. If anyone ever comes up with good t-shirt designs, we should definitely share them within this group because it is so hard to come up with those that people actually want to wear. What other good ideas are you all thinking about? Or maybe some pain points that you're like, I haven't been able to figure out how to do this. We have some really great minds in this call who might be able to help you solve that problem.
Okay, I can go because someone mentioned the Audrey's Children, and I had a full plan to watch Audrey's Children for the appreciation event. We actually rented this. It's called a theater, but it's also an event space. So I knew, okay, we could either watch the movie, which is what I really wanted, and I'm still kind of holding out hope that might by some miracle happen, or we can pivot to like a banquet style. But we haven't done a banquet style appreciation event in years. We've always had like some sort of event or some sort of sport. So I'm really kind of struggling with what are we going to do from 2 to 5 with all these people. Obviously, we'll do speeches. We can do a video. We talked about like having people stand up based on like how long they've been there and then giving a gift to the, ones who've been there 20 years. But does anybody else have any ideas of what they're planning on doing during their event? Ideally, something that maybe gets people talking to each other or create some social interaction.
Yeah, so I can talk a little bit about what we're doing. So it's not necessarily kind of a banquet, but it's a similar thing. We normally choose like a theme every year, which is always really fun. We normally like alternate between like how into the theme we get. So this year we're just doing like more of like a beach theme. We have like a venue that's like going to be like kind of outdoors, and so we're calling it like our little like sunset soiree. So it's going to be kind of fun in that way. So like the activities that we're doing, we try to kind of base off of that. So like I know for us, like we wanted to get like maybe even like a cornhole or like yard games to do like in the venue. But once again, I think it kind of depends on like what our theme is what like activities I think we kind of do. But yeah, we try to have like a couple almost like I feel like stations kind of work so that people can kind of choose what they want to do. And then once again, we have a part where people are seated and hearing about the awards and all the things, but we like to break it up with a good amount of just fun social things that you can do as well.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
I love that idea of a theme for the event. I've never done that for volunteer appreciation, but that does kind of help you come up with activities or just make things feel new that maybe you've done before, but now it's in a theme.
Yeah. I think last year, again, I just started in November, so I wasn't here for it. But I think last year they did a whole I think 50s theme. So they did kind of a decades, we've done different ones. What were some of the other ones? They have done a tropical Hawaiian theme before, a luau kind of vibe. So I feel there's lots of fun you can have with it, especially depending on where your venue is. And then like you said, I think it just makes it easier to kind of plan all the things to do when you already have kind of a set idea of what it's going to look like.
I'm crazy for a theme also, and I like to do really bad puns and all kinds of stuff. So
yes,
ideas we did. When we did the zoo, we were wild about our volunteers. And so little Save the Date had a little toy animal, a little plastic toy animal that you can buy in bulk, really cheap, things like that. And last year for the Nature and Science Museum, it was our volunteers are out of this world. And that's why I did a planetarium show and stuff like that too. But you could still use those themes even without those more extravagant venues, certainly, just to kind of tie in, like Meredith said, with all those fun little games that you do or stations. And this year I'm still figuring out exactly what our event will look like, but we're doing it in-house. And the couple of ideas I have so far to try to get people socializing is doing kind of an icebreaker bingo kind of game. We did something similar to staff meeting where you have basically a bingo frame, and then in each block it's something like born in Colorado, or you could be volunteered for 5 years or something like that. Different things that you would find people who fit the descriptions or the items, so it gets people talking and asking. And then my thought is anybody who completes it or fills it out, can get entered in another raffle prize. And maybe doing another kind of game, a trivia game, like a true false game, maybe, where it can be about Ronald McDonald House, ideally. Fun trivia maybe about your house, about the organization in general. And if you're not familiar with the game, you kind of have people stand up, and then one side of the room is true, one side of the room is false. And so if you make a statement, then people have to kind of cross the line of what they think is right, and the last person standing is the winner.
That's a cool idea. I like that.
I also haven't priced it out, so I don't know if I'm going to do this or not, but at our gala last year, we had a 360 photo booth, which was just so much fun. And I thought would be I felt like our volunteers would enjoy that level of fun. Because if you haven't seen, it's you stand in the middle and it could be 2 or 3 people and the camera spins around you. So it's literally a 360 little video. And it's just fun and a different play on a photo booth. So I don't know if we will do that at any point for our volunteers this year, but I thought that was a really fun. Maybe it's not that different, but it feels different to me.
Yeah. Another thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Another thing I'll mention, you just reminded me, I know our intern is working on securing is reaching out to like photo booths, but also we were even thinking about I know before they've had even the caricature drawings, something interactive and fun. And I know there's a lot of places that will donate those services or even give you a good discount for it. So I don't know if you guys have interns in your programs as well, but that's been something really helpful. She's been reaching out to a lot of them in the community for fun things that they could do, or also have a take home little cartoon of yourself. So that's been fun.
I'll butt in, sorry for joining a little late, but I'll butt in that one of my favorite aspects of a different volunteer appreciation event, which Meredith was actually for Central Florida when we went last year, was they had Grimace there, which was awesome. It is a great way to kind of rely on our McDonald's partners if you guys have that relationship with some of your local McDonald's owner operators. They might have a Grimace lying around or one of the other characters. And at least for our volunteer appreciation event, we always really encourage volunteers to bring their families, bring their friends, and especially volunteers that maybe have like younger kids. Grimace is definitely something that draws people in.
We actually, our leadership had to go to Columbus to petition about Medicare, and they brought Grimace with them from the Columbus House. And they said Grimace did an amazing job of like grabbing the legislators, taking a selfie, and then bringing them over so we could talk about why we need Medicare funding.
Good
So,
on
yeah.
Grimace.
He works. Yeah.
Yep.
Adelaide, did you have an idea too?
No, I was just gonna second. It's funny because everything you guys are saying, we have at our annual 5K, Grimace and the 360 camera. But I was gonna second the 360 camera. Grimace is also great. He was in the pictures with a lot of people, but we had to like get people out of the 360 camera line to start the race because it's so appreciated. So I would just say, like, if you did consider that, that's where the theme would also be super fun, where you can have like different glasses or things for people to put on or makeup type stuff. And I would recommend, like what Meredith's saying, a lot of these kind of companies will donate or price it down for you, especially when you hone in on the volunteer side of things. But yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that's a good idea. Like, okay, you came here to run. Let's go. Stop playing around with Grimace.
Yeah. That is actually hilarious that you were like, you had to stop this. You're a part of the race. I love that. And I do think that is sometimes like what I have to remember is the things that we're doing at our fundraising events and at these other things. Our volunteers appreciate those things too. So sometimes you don't have to recreate and come up with something new. It's like, oh, we already used this at the 5K. It was really exciting. Let's use it for our volunteers. Some of them might have been at the 5K, but they weren't all there. So, and that's something to help remind us of especially like our events team and our development team. They have these things that they're already doing. So what can we utilize for our volunteers as well? That's great. The last piece of the agenda, and we can keep talking about all of these things, but just wanted to bring it up in case people have thoughts, is just that really volunteer appreciation is a full organization effort. And we've kind of talked about this a little bit about it's not just what I'm doing to appreciate the volunteers, it's all of the staff. So how do you all feel like your staff goes about making volunteers feel appreciated? And are there things you do to help facilitate that for your staff and help encourage it for them?
So I'm actually not in-house. Unfortunately, it's the hardest part of my position. And I think our house teams develop really strong connections with our volunteers. I've started doing like a profile on each volunteer where it's their picture, fun facts about them, their why RMHC, and then I send it to all of our staff. And everybody's like really excited about that. Our development person is like over the moon about it because she's always wanting to meet new people and create new connections. So I think that's like one way. I think sometimes parts of our staff don't know volunteers very well or feel like weird to just walk up and be like, hey. So I think those profiles have helped a lot. And then I also kind of, if I know like a volunteer has an interest in supporting kind of a different department, for instance, like finance, we have a volunteer who just started with us who has been a VP of finance previously. She said she would love to help with anything administrative. I just put it on the calendar, put my finance team in, and then that way they can come up to the house and meet her.
That's great. Sounds like a great way to facilitate that.
Yeah, something that we do, we call it like our volunteer like golden nugget form. It's just our name for it. But basically it's just a form where like anyone in the organization can submit a nomination for a volunteer that's just like going above and beyond or doing a really great job. And so basically they just get like a certificate, and sometimes they'll get like an extra like merch item or like a pin to put on like their name tag. But it's really cool because again, anyone can do it. So it could be the house teams, it can be someone on like our community partnership and program team, or anyone just that might be in the house and just see them doing a really great job and just wants to appreciate them. So I think that like the little things go a long way, because like we kind of talked about at the beginning, everyone likes to be appreciated in different ways, and like some people might not want like the big banquet recognition, but like just getting a certificate can be like, oh, someone like noticed that I was doing good. So I think that's been really great.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think our team does we're a pretty small house and a smaller team. So they do, I think, a pretty good job of like connecting with volunteers and thanking them. And but I do think they appreciate the events as an opportunity for them to attend the events. So they're not busy, they're like, I'm not interrupting my day or my flow to talk with volunteers. Like, this is my job right now, is to chit chat with the volunteers. And I think they do appreciate that as well. Although I think they're good about it in their day to day too, but it's nice to just give them the opportunity. I like the idea of facilitating those meetings if people have specific interests as well. So that can be hard. I do also try to, let the staff know what I'm doing in terms of appreciation so that they know. And if it's something that they can, comment on or tag along with, like that gives them something to talk about, like right now, because we are doing the Audrey's Children viewing, they can ask people, oh, have you seen the thing about Audrey's? Are you going to come? It's a great movie. I saw it. They can kind of help talk it up and gives them a talking point.
Yeah, great ideas. We also continue to involve staff in the planning and execution of volunteer appreciation. It's usually a theme, and they get dressed for the theme, which really thrills the volunteers. They form that sort of receiving line greeting section at the entrance, and they're usually we incorporate some kind of a trivia, multiple choice or true false questions that the staff give the volunteers, and then for every right answer they hand them a raffle ticket toward one of the door prizes. They also are part of the actual program. So for the house managers who work specifically with the van drivers or the front desk folks or the food services team, they're actually announcing those volunteers who achieve the milestones and help with, giving out their special pins. So yeah, we really try to get them involved every step of the way with the celebration. It's just makes it more meaningful for everyone.
I love that you have the staff dress in theme, and this is further reason why I need to start theming my events. I love that. And I think 95% of our staff would also love it. There's a couple who would be like, I don't know about that, but they can be lighter costumes. It's okay.
We accessorize as well. It's all good.
That's super fun. I love that. Great. We'll have shared some really good ideas. Definitely we have some time for a few more if other people have things to share. And again, thanks to Vanessa for stepping in to take notes for us. So we will get that transferred to our official notebook. And if you have questions about how to access that, we can get you that information. I'll be honest, Stephanie is really the one who knows all. She's the keeper of all of the knowledge of those things. But we'll make it happen in her absence.
I have one, I guess, a question for everybody. I'm wondering if anybody does like yard signs or signage throughout the house or things like that for part of April appreciation, so that I guess staff, but also the community and those volunteers like our meal volunteers and people who come one-off, so that they kind of see that too. And I'm wondering what that looks like for you.
We do a couple different things. So every year we have signs that say something along the lines of "We love our volunteers, happy Volunteer Appreciation Week." And we put that on every door in the house. So like you said, people coming into the community, our families, our visitors all see that. And then what we're doing this year, and we've done before too, is we're going to have a banner that says Happy Volunteer Week, something like that. And then we're going to have families write little messages on the banner of thanking the volunteers. And we'll have that in the house during the week. And then I think if it works out, we're going to take it to the event for appreciation event and have that up there as well. But they always really seem to like that, especially when it's like a little kiddo's, you know, handwriting, makes it special.
I love that. That's a great idea. I've never had the idea to do something specific signage wise for Volunteer Appreciation Week, so thank you all for sharing that idea. Now I have it. But we do have yard signs out front of our house that I designed a couple years ago because we get a lot of foot traffic always, but also we're right next to our football stadium. So during football season, there's a lot of eyes in our area. So I have one that is like, that we need volunteers with a little QR code. I also have one that just kind of speaks to what our mission is because not everybody knows, and one for donating. So I could easily replace those with volunteer appreciation ones for the month of April, and then switch them back if I was so inclined. But that's a really, really good idea. I also like the idea of having something that the families can work on, you know, whether it's signing or drawing or whatever, to share during the volunteer appreciation event, because I think that's why a lot of our volunteers are here, is for the families. And so it's nice for them to get that connection that they don't always get in their volunteer roles, depending on what it is. That's really smart. I did also have, I know I have shared this with this group in previous years when we've talked about this topic, but in case you weren't part of it, one year we did a carnival. It was during the COVID years when we were allowed to have gatherings, but they had to be outside, you know, a whole thing. So we had a carnival on our property for our volunteers, and we did a dunk tank in which myself and another staff member, including our CEO, people could dunk us in the dunk tank, and they loved it. So you know, if you or your CEO are willing to get in a dunk tank, volunteers and families both loved that opportunity. It was, of course, a day that the temperature dipped and it was a little chilly. So I didn't love it as much, but we were all good sports about it and it was a lot of fun. So I'll just throw that out there as like a fun addition if you're doing an outdoor event for your volunteers. Any other good ideas or questions? Thank you for asking that one, Vanessa.
This might be a really poor idea, but like the dunk tank, I love it. It's just financially that may not be something that we can do. But I come from sorority times, and the other alternative that's cheaper is like pieing somebody with just like whipped cream and a plate. Don't recommend whipped cream in the summer heat, because then when it's in your face, like you smell it for the next 4 days. But just like something that's kind of, I like the idea of involving the staff in a way that's just like fun. So
yeah, that's a great one. And yeah, I don't know, there's just something, some volunteers are just really called to doing something like mean or bad to the staff. I don't know why. So as long as it's all in good fun and we're all good sports about it and in the know, but yeah, they enjoy that. I could see, I think we have done the pieing in the face as the finale to some fundraiser that we've done in the past. Our CEO is a very good sport. He lets us put him up for those kinds of things, but I could see the volunteers loving that as a piece of it too. That's awesome. Okay, any final thoughts or ideas? We're going to end a couple minutes early today, which I know someone else mentioned beautiful weather where they are. It is gorgeous here and it is supposed to start storming tomorrow. So if you're in a similar weather situation, you got to enjoy it while you can. Okay. Vanessa?
I feel like I've talked a lot this meeting somehow,
No.
even though I was typing. But one final thing that has been on my mind is about just students, for students specifically. And I know, Jillian, you mentioned you do a student volunteer of the year, but do you guys do any other specific recognition, certificates, or award levels, things like that, specific to volunteers or high school level?
We have not pulled this off yet, but an idea that has been in my head for several years is graduation cords for either high school or college students who are, deeply committed and volunteer a lot with us. I had a volunteer request that one time, but then other volunteers were like, no, I'm not even walking to graduation. I don't care. So I'm not sure yet that is that's why I haven't done it yet. But that is an idea that I have had, or maybe you could do something similar. Yeah, that's a great question though.
Has anybody broached the issue, question, concern of like a Girl Scout badge? No.
We have a patch.
You do?
Yeah, actually, it came about when someone at the Girl Scouts of Colorado met with our CEO, and so they connected, our counterparts to talk about it. So we designed a patch and have had it for about almost a year and a half now.
So I guess like the concern that we've had when we've discussed it is like approval by Global. Do you know of or remember anything about that?
No, that's excellent. I don't think that was ever a concern that came across for us. Since it came from like my CEO, I didn't consider that. I guess there might be a question there. We do have our chapter logo on it and a couple, little icons, but it's specific to State of Colorado Girl Scouts.
Okay. Good to know. Yeah, I like the idea of graduation cords as well. I think that they're coming back around. I think that in COVID times, everybody was like, yeah, I'm not walking. I'm not doing that. But I've recently had a lot of interest from a lot of students about how to like get kind of partnered with us. And I think graduation cords would be a great idea going forward. So if you ever get somewhere with that, I'd love to be in the mix.
I do remember doing the research. You can just go buy graduation cords, like of whatever color you choose. So it's actually pretty easy. I was kind of just stumbled by like, what are the requirements to get a graduation cord? And then in my head, because this is the kind of person I am, I'm like, well, if you feel passionate about the Ronald McDonald House and you want to have Ronald McDonald House graduation cords, like who am I to say, oh no, you only volunteered 45 hours instead of 50? Like, I don't know. And then I think you made a great point. I think if this was during the COVID years, and then I was like, nobody wants these because nobody's walking at graduation. So maybe I need to bring it back as an idea.
Do you think that formalizing requirements, that's something that we're working on? This is a different discussion, but like for students, because for age groups under 14, they can't volunteer in our houses. I know for some people it's 16, some people it's 18. So I think that would be how we would determine the graduation cords would be like our formalized system for that age group.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just hopping into the discussion here, I know that something that we're going to be doing throughout the entire month of April is, besides like the event that we're planning, which is still in the works, but and also like physical gifts and treats, we're going to be featuring key volunteers on social media. And also we have a lot of corporate groups that we work with. So doing some LinkedIn posts, just featuring them, like, thank you for coming in and cooking a meal for our families. But also, like, we do really value the individual volunteer shout outs that we get from our programs team, because they're the ones that really work with the volunteers a little bit more directly. So definitely, like, social media, we're going to be doing some different Instagram posts, and LinkedIn for corporate groups probably.
I love that idea of LinkedIn shout outs for corporate groups. That's really smart. And Erica, I saw you had unmuted a second ago. Did you have an idea to share as well?
Not an idea, but I want to tap into I think this can be a completely separate discussion. If we have not before talked about high school volunteer groups, I would love to talk about high school volunteer programs, because the state of Arkansas, for the 24-25 school year, passed a law that every student has to have 25 volunteer hours per year to graduate. So the freshman group, that's a group this year, will have 100 hours by the time they graduate in 4 years. And we were not prepared for that. And I have been inundated with high school kids needing volunteer hours. And we threw together a program of some kind, and we are totally going to revamp it this summer. But I just need all the ideas, because we are like, we don't know how to narrow down or what we want to do. So if we haven't talked about it, we need to talk about it, because I'm floundering over here with that one.
I don't think that has been a full topic. I think it's come up a few times, but certainly something worth adding. Our state has not done that requirement, but my boss told me I need to start a teen volunteer program. So I would love to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, it was something that was always on my radar, and I just never did it until the state forced my hand. And now I'm like, crap.
Understand. Okay, well, maybe I can't remember what our next few topics are. We'll see if it can fit in with them, or if nothing else, we can also have an ad hoc meeting that isn't on our normal schedule. If there's like a pressing topic that we're like, hey, this is in the pipeline and all these students are coming at me, I have to have something to give them.
If you do it, don't schedule it for June or July, because I'm on maternity leave. So it has to be like now or like August.
Okay.
I think it's the next one. I think in May we're talking about teens. I was just
okay, perfect. I was
Yep,
like,
I just looked at it. May 16th, our topic is teen and youth volunteer programs.
Yes, fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks, Dylan. I was like, I don't want to promise that that's a topic, because I could be wrong.
I had to remind myself as well, but yeah, that should be good timing heading into the summer too. I know a lot of chapters like ours do more like summer student volunteering when they're out of school.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to decide. Do we do summer? Do we do something that's year round and make it more society based and you have to apply? We don't know. So I just need all the ideas so I can plan to be ready to go by September. So
okay, excellent. We'll talk about it at the next one. Perfect.
I will be there.
Great advertisement, Erica.
I planned it. I'm just good like that.
Well, thank you all so much for such a good meeting with lots of ideas to share. I know I wrote down a lot of suggestions that you all have shared. And again, it's just one of those topics we talk about it frequently because it is ongoing and it is difficult to maintain your level of creativity after several years. And so thank you all for sharing that. And for the new folks who are just kind of starting in this role, volunteer appreciation is really the best part. We all love it. And so we appreciate the energy and reminding us of some of your great ideas. So thank you all so much. If you all need anything, please let us know. Otherwise, we'll see you in May to talk about youth and teen volunteers.
Thanks, Jillian.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
Thanks, Jillian. Have a nice weekend, everyone.
Thank you.